Good morning, friends. I've got 2 tips for you today, and these are going to be massively game-changing in your lives. I promise you. I promise you. Now, the first tip I learned when I went to a entrepreneurship boot camp, and at this boot camp, there was a leader, and the leader of this boot camp, at the very start, got us to get into a circle and introduce ourselves one by one. Now, when you're doing this sort of exercise, you might become anxious. Do you see what I did there? Do you see what I said there? I said, you might become anxious. So I depersonalized the emotion. Instead of saying, I become anxious, I said, you might become anxious. I have no idea you might become anxious. That's not really what I was trying to say. I was saying, I might become anxious, but I didn't want to say that it might be me. And that's a way of hiding from your emotions. And so, an exercise I want you to try and practice is to, I'm just crossing the road here. I've never done it whilst recording myself, so it's quite risky. But yeah, an exercise I want you to try out is to be conscious of yourself when you're describing your emotions. Try to use the word I as opposed to you. Now begin by doing this in more easy social settings for yourself. So this could be when you're talking with family members or friends. And then move it up to situations where you're talking with new people. Immediately, especially with new people, you'll notice that you will actually create better connections. Because ultimately, we're all emotive beings. So what you want to do is be able to express your emotions to that other person, and by making it individual, by saying I, you are being your authentic self. Now, going back to the boot camp story, it was very funny because every time someone would start introducing themselves, they'd very often say you instead of I. And this boot camp leader, every time he would remind us that, no, you shouldn't be saying you should be saying I. So, he would abruptly interrupt people and say I, not you. So yeah, a lot of people actually do this, and the sooner you become conscious of it, the sooner your relationships will improve. Now the second one is your vocabulary and the way you express things. Now I watched over my video from yesterday, and I noticed when I say the word beautiful, I struggle to pronounce it properly. It's one of those really emotive words. You're telling, excuse me, I just woke up and I've had breakfast and I'm on my way to university for an exam. But anyway, those emotive words, especially if you're someone who lacks emotional vulnerability, you may not pronounce the words properly. So first of all, I want you to practice pronouncing all the emotive words you can think of. So that might be beauty, love, expression, freedom, the really touchy ones and stuff like that. So practice saying those words. And then after you've done that, practice using them in your everyday life. So initially it might come across as you're exaggerating. For example, you might say, oh, don't you love the look of that? No, don't say, don't you love? So you say, I love the look of that building. Say, I make the mistake there as well. So make it personal. I love the look of that building. So 2 tips. First one, use the word I, make it personal. Don't say you. Be conscious of when you say you. It's fine to restart your sentence. And the second one is to use emotive words. And even if it's exaggerating slightly, even if you don't love something, just make practice of using those really emotive words. And make sure it does resonate with you to an extent. Don't, pretend or be sarcastic. But those are my tips for you, and believe me, they will help you. Now, all the best, everyone. I'd love to hear your feedback and how you get on and your experience and so on. So feel free to leave a comment or join the Reddit discussion, which is linked down below. Bye now. Hopefully I'll smash this exam. I'm pretty confident. Obviously, I'm a bit anxious for the exam, but I'm sure I'll be relieved when it's over. Bye now.